Good afternoon, everyone. And you hear the noise in the background. That's not just a casual noise. It's just we're launching a new season of the webinars, of RigER webinars, rather, weekly RigER webinars, in which we're going to be shedding more light on the latest development of our product, RigER Digital Oilfield Platform for Oilfield Service and Rentals Companies. And today's topic is, since it's the first one in the new year, is going to be very exciting and it's brand new. So sometimes we do the reruns, but this one is going to be a totally new topic about the latest development in our product. And the topic is called out of fleet equipment statuses. It is a new feature that's been added and a module that has been added to the system. So those of you who are following the latest development will find it very new and completely novel as far as the capability of the RigER. So my name is Nikolai, and you can see my picture. So I'm going to be the host of today's webinar, and on the next slide we'll see who's going to be the main presenter. But before we do that, I wanted to quickly mention to you that you can always follow us in any and every meaningful social media channel that we have been present. So this is the easiest way for us to share with you what's the latest and for you to stay up to date on what's going on at RigER. And the agenda and the presenter are on this slide. So you can see that today's presenter is Michael. So he's the lead, the product lead, as well as the CEO of our company. And he's going to be talking today about the oilfield rental fleet in general in RigER. How and what does a rental fleet statuses mean, and what's the new auto fleet statuses imply. So there are several of them that have been implemented in the latest release, so you'll be able to see and follow the process and what they mean and how they can be enabled in your instance if you need them. We'll also talk about the purchases of assembly units, and we'll cover a little bit or provide a bit of a sneak peek of what's the new add-ons are coming in the next release 7.1. So to those of you who are new to RigER, and I know that some of you are our existing users and clients, and some of you are new to RigER, so I wanted to give a quick, literally a few slides intro of what RigER is, in addition to what you may have seen on the website about us. So RigER is a flagship product of the Belkasoft Corporation. We have a headquarter office in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and we stand by several simple principles that guide our product development, our client interaction as well. So we are striving for paperless enterprise and developing systems that help mid-size, small, large size, any size, literally, business to move from the tedious paper processes into the paperless environment. We also understand that everyone is a little different in how they run their business, so we provide custom solutions, and since RigER is a very highly configurable system, and we'll talk about that as well. And another area of focus and the pillar on which we based our operations and integrations. We understand that it's important for you sometimes when you're in different functional areas in your organization to maintain a system that you are using and keep using it. So we understand the value of our system for the operations and integrate it with other systems in the office and functions in the office environment. So the RigER product family, again, to those of you who are new, is made of several parts, so to speak. So first is the main one is the RigER Cloud solution. That's the main database that we designed for you, our clients, and you're able to access it in the cloud, and it's stored and backed up. So the cloud is connected to the mobile oil field suite of applications. So we have designed several applications that are now available for the RigER users, and they're connecting on the back end with the cloud, connecting by that the back office and the field. So, and industry applications is also part of the family of the product of RigER. So the key one we wanted to highlight is the RigER Downhole Tools. It's a totally new and different development. However, at the same time, RigER supports a number of different industry applications as well. And it sort of applies to different kinds of equipment that it can manage in RigER. So where are we and where we're located operation-wise? So we are located in North America with offices in Calgary and Houston, as well as we have servers distributed in North America that help to host the cloud databases and have access to those. And support development we're a truly global company distributed between European and North American offices. Some of our clients are presented on this slide and the kinds of equipment that the guys are using. So you may recognize your names here or see the names that are familiar to you. So these are some of the users that are using RigER, and they're using it to track and manage equipment that is presented on the right-hand side. You can see that it runs from the simple surface equipment to the complex downhole tools, including different kinds of services as well. And so we're getting to the subject matter of this webinar, so which is out of fleet statuses and how it's being managed now in RigER. And on that note, I wanted to pass the mic to Michael, who's going to be shedding more light on this excitingly new topic.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to RigER webinar series in 2020. Happy New Year, everyone. This is the first webinar of our this year series of webinars, and I'm really excited to present today a new development which will be available at version 7.1. It's a new topic for us. It's out of fleet statuses. So when we talk about rental fleet movements, we see that the equipment can be purchased, assembled, built to start working in the rental fleet, and sometimes we can sell, scrap, or disposal the equipment. So we all the time have all different movements back and forth, and in some cases we have temp statuses. So we will require temp statuses to make this equipment available from our books. However, we will need to exclude this equipment from our rental fleet. So from operation standpoint, this equipment is not in a fleet. From the accounting standpoint, it's still there. So for example, when we purchase something and we build our own equipment from different components, from accounting standpoint, we're building a new unit, and this unit will be built in 2-3 weeks or whatever, and we need to assign a particular components to this unit. So to use that, we require some kind of status, different status, to separate this from non-status unit and to separate them from the ready to rent. So it's not ready to rent yet, and we need kind of a temporary status here. Opposite direction, when we decided that we will sell this unit, but it's not ready for sale, so we need to like pre-sales preparation or something like that. We need to do some maybe painting, maybe or whatever work, and it's waiting. But we not use it for our rental operations. So again, we need to have this kind of a separate status to separate it from ready to rent and salt. So kind of between. Same thing with scrap and disposal. So talking about those kind of operations, we decided to add new statuses to our rental unit statuses. Right now, we have 16 statuses in describing different situation, different position statuses of the rental units. Most popular and most formal are like ready to rent, deployed, and need repair. And when we talk about out of fleet, it means that now we have several statuses already. No status sold and scrapped. But we kind of like discussed with our clients, and they decided to have temporary statuses for sale, for scrap, and CIP. So those statuses will help us to identify the rental units, but keep them in the kind of temporary category. So out of fleet statuses, they exclude rental units from the active rental operations. So the main purpose that we couldn't use those units for the rental jobs. And those statuses could be not participate in the utilization. and other fleet KPIs and efficiency calculations. So we need to exclude those things, and managers ask us to take them out because they not manage them, and it should not influence to their KPIs. And to do that, we build 3 different statuses for sales, for scrap, and construction in progress. And I will describe and explain all of them in a second. Adding to that, we still have 3 different statuses which not include in the fleet, in the rental fleet. It's no status. It means that we just build a record about the rental unit, but there is no any documents, there is no any triggers which will assign a status to this rental unit. Sold, this status we will have when we sell the unit and post the sales shipment document, and scrapped when we post the disposal item disposal document, then the unit converted to this status. So let's talk about sales and for scrap items. Sales and scrap for sales and for scrap statuses, they build for to have like kind of temporary statuses of the rental units, which we already made a decision about sales or scrap, but they not ready yet for that. And it's more operational, and that is why the operational manager can, in the system, can make a decision about that, and must approve the new document, rental fleet note, which we use to convert items to the statuses. And those statuses will be available for intercompany transfer, because if you decided that you will take this item out of fleet in one location, you'll be able to move it to another location. So rental fleet note, say for example, sometimes you decided to return this, like you decide today will sell it, but nobody wants it. So you can reverse the rental unit status and return the equipment back to the fleet. Item disposal, it's only for scrap only, and a sales shipment for sales only. So accordingly, so for scrap can be used in item disposal, for sales can be used in sales shipment. To do that, we have a rental fleet note, and rental fleet note as a new document available for dispatcher, fleet manager, and operation manager roles. And this document will convert the rental unit from status ready to rent to a particular status for sale or for scrap. And it will work in the following procedure. So you open a new rental fleet note, and by default, the rental fleet note will be with movement out from the fleet. You can reverse the transaction and return equipment to the fleet through the rental fleet note in. And after that, you can use this unit in 3 different documents: intercompany transfer, which we already discussed, sales shipment, and item disposal. So the list of documents, the list of the rental fleet note looks like pretty much the same as we use for reservation and backups, and it's pretty much the same. The difference is that it's a little bit different document, and this document has to be approved by operation manager. So here's how the document looks like. By default, we have open statuses, and only operation manager can change status to the approved. And type, the movement type will be out, and the reason will be for scrap or for sale. Depending on that, the item, the rental unit, will have this status as for scrap or for sale. And when we talk about fleet in and out, status has changed. We see that when we post the fleet out for sales node, the status of the rental units become for sale for a number of days. Again, those numbers are not like just different days, or it could be different months. It doesn't matter. So we know that there is a temporary status and there's this status for sale. We can change our mind and move it back to the rental fleet. Or if we would like to move it to the sales by posting the sales shipment document, it will convert status from for sale to sold. And if we do not want to use it, like for sales status, we can already use a sales shipment document, and ready to rent item, ready to rent unit will go to sold status, to convert to the sold status. Same thing with disposals. So we use the rental fleet node and check reason for scrap, and if it's for scrap, we can use it in the disposal document, item disposal. So pretty much same approach, the only different purposes, and pretty much the same algorithm, and the company can use this like both simultaneously. And some limitations and controls we added to system. So there is no unpost for the rental fleet node. You can only reverse, and no mark for deletion for rental fleet node. So this document is only one-way document, and that kind of restriction we have to do because we need to have a full control of all the status changes in the system. So we come to the point when we have first Q&A session for this webinar, and I'm ready to answer the questions. Do we have any?
Yeah, thank you, Michael. Thanks for it's a very specific topic, so I don't anticipate there will be a lot of questions. And what I wanted to let everyone know that there is a control. If you're new to our webinar, so there's a control panel at the bottom of the screen that you're looking at, and there is a button Q&A. You can click and start typing the question, and that's how we will receive them. And then I will usually read them out, and Michael will be able to answer the question. So the question that I've got right now is actually from Ryan, and Ryan is question. So is this feature going to be available for everyone by default?
No, so the short answer is not. The feature will be available only for the clients who, first of all, wants to use this, and it will be a separate add-on to use that, because sometimes like lots of different status can confuse users, and we'd like to avoid that, to not confuse people, because sometimes it's 16 different statuses is too much sometimes.
It's a good answer, Michael. Thank you. And actually, that resonates with the question from Maria, who's asking, how easy is it to add new additional statuses for the equipment in your system?
The good question, because it was easy previously. Right now, we try to avoid that again, to not confuse anyone, to not trying to make the system as simple as possible, because more status is more complexity, more human errors, and we'd like to avoid that. So most of the users will not use those statuses, because these statuses, especially designed for a complex units, and it means that a complex unit required kind of a preparation for sales or preparation for scrap. For example, you need to disassemble something, or you can reuse kind of a component of the rental unit for the future repairs or something like that. So that kind of situation appear not everywhere, but we see more and more clients asking that feature.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, guys. Hold on a sec. There may be another question coming up. Yeah, so the question is from Chad. Does an item categorized as no status show up in your active inventory as a rentable, unit? So no status, is it rentable?
No, no status. This means that we have a record about this unit number. We kind of reserve the unit number in the system. But to make it rentable, we need to purchase it or subrent it. Or we have third way how the item can appear in the system. It will be an initial balances document. So those three documents, they are only way how the unit number can appear in the system. So no status means that we no record about this unit. Another way how the no status can appear in the system, if we talk about subrental operations. Say, for example, you have a subrental unit of your vendor, number 1, 2, 3, and you use it for a particular job. And after that job, you return this unit to the vendor. And in the system, we will have this unit number with no status. So it means that it will you will see that, you will see the history, but right now we have no idea what kind of status this unit can be. If you will use this unit in the next job, again, you will generate a rental ticket, and this ticket will change the status of this unit from no status to ready to rent. So, other words, no status means that we
have a unit in the system, but we don't know what's going on with it unless it's a sub-rental.
Yeah, so we do not have any records about status, and all the status is changed by documents. So the documents become a trigger, because it's very important working with statuses, understand when it happened, and the document has a document date or any other dates. Could be a different dates and time, which is very important when it happened. Because when you purchase something today, you need to be sure that purchases posted before, say, for example, deployed documents.
Yeah, that speaks to the point that the system actually runs live information and relies on the live information that is in the database about each unit and its next or previous move in the system or timestamp. So that's how you know what exactly is going on. That's why you rely on the information you put in. So another question from Chad. These are good questions. We appreciate that, Chad. So can you leave an extended note attached to the no status item?
Not sure about the extended note, but you can put any comment to any unit. So, yeah. And if you'd like to see, in the unit card, you can see the list of unit numbers. And one of the column which you will have will be a comment, and you can put any comment there. So it will help you to put this as a no status item and comment regarding
yeah, so
this.
basically you can put additional information about that specific unit.
But it's not only for the no status, because no status today could be deployed tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's dynamic thing. So, but definitely, if you'd like to reserve a unit number for a particular thing, and you'd like to put this thing as a comment, this will work.
Yeah, and we can always provide additional context, Chad, to your questions. So I hope we've been able to answer some of them, but we can you can reach out to us in an offline mode after the webinar today, tomorrow, anytime, and we'll be able to show you a little more.
Yeah, by the way, Chad, hello.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you. I want to make sure that that everybody knows that there will be another time at the end of this webinar to ask additional questions. So let's just, for the time sake, keep moving.
Okay, let's move to the more complex process. And this is about building units or purchase complex units. This happening when we are trying to build the units by ourselves, like build the rental units by ourselves, or purchase a complex unit with several components. When we do that, we have two different ways. We can purchase by components and purchase the entire unit. So purchase by components, the entire lading looks like that. So we generate bill of lading and purchase components as a standard operations. And after that, as we decided to build a particular unit, we start the assembly. And we add the new document assembly list with type assembly, and start collecting and adding the different components and bolted them together until we finally build the assembly. And when we will finish the assembly, we will enter the assembly date. So, and in this case, we will have two different dates. One is the start of the assembly. Second is the finish of the assembly. And what's happening in this case? When we started the assembly, we decided that this unit will be in the system and it's already building. And moreover, we are assigning a particular component to this unit. So those components could not be used for different assemblies. So, and we need to assign them when we start building them. And another challenge that those components could be purchased during that assembly period. Say, for example, we start assembly September 1st, and components, all the components purchased through the September to October, and we finish the assembly in November. So those 2 months, we need to have this kind of status of this unit that it's in the build right now. So we building this unit. So to do that, we add the status CIP, which means construction in progress. And the unit become with the status from start assembly to finish assembly, like from starting date to the end date of the assembly. And optionally, it could be inspection after that assembly list. So the inspection card can be generated if you use inspections after the assembly. Okay, so here's how the actually two different rental units can work together. So we have components and we have the assembly units here presenting. So we go through the no status when we purchase component to ready to rent. And as soon as we assign this component to the particular assembly, it's become already in status assembled. If we talk about the assembled unit, when we decided that we will assemble the unit from the assembly start date, the document date, the unit become in CIP status. When we finish assembly, it's become like in this particular way, when we have an inspection card, it will be for inspection status. After the inspection card, it will be in ready to rent. Some of the units, if they not require inspection or the company not use inspections option in RigER, after that assembly, they can be ready to rent. They can be converted to ready to rent status. So, to do that, we add some changes in the assembly list purchases, the assembly list assembly, and we added assign date. Every single component can have their own assigned date, and the assembly date will be the finish of the assembly. So when the particular unit become available. So in this particular example, we start building the assembly as of January 1st. We add all the components, assign all the components as January 6th. And 7th will be our assembly date, the time and date when the unit become available and ready to rent. Another way how we can purchase, we can purchase already assembled units. And in some cases, the company will require to track all the components separately. Say, for example, you purchased a generator and you'd like to split it on the different components. So what we do in this case, we purchase the assembly unit as normal process. And then if it's we have the assembly card check mark that this is the assembly item, it automatically generates the assembly list. And the assembly list will have two different types of operations. First of all, it will be assembly purchases, the type of the assembly list, and two different operations will be splitting components and assembling components. So because the company could split the purchased unit to this like 3 components and add 2 more components to prepare a unit for the job. Okay, so splitting means that we will allocate the cost of the unit between those 3 components. Assembling means that we will add the cost of 2 components to the entire unit together. So, and we do pretty much the same approach here. The start assembly and finish assembly between those 2, it will be status CIP of this particular unit. And after that, we can do the inspection, run an inspection card. So here in this case, we will have, like for the splitting, they will appear from nowhere because when we do splitting, the rental unit components not exist in the system. So, and they will convert from no status to assembled. And this is one of the exclusion from the general rules I mentioned when I answer the questions. But this is the way how the component can appear in the system as a part of the assembly unit. So the component become the assembled after splitting of the assembly unit. And the entire assembly unit, when we purchase it, we use the bill of lading and automatically generate assembly lists. So the assembly unit become converted to the status CIP. And after the assembly list posted and inspection card posted, it's become ready to rent. So I understand that it's a little bit complicated, but in general, if you have that kind of complex unit, please call us, email us, and we will sit down and discuss more precisely, more detail about those new 2 add-ons in version 7.0. So we add 2 add-ons, and one is the rental fleet node, and another CIP status, which means construction in progress status, and they will be a part of the RigER configuration starting from version 7.1, which will be available at the end of this month. So we ready to the second Q&A session, and if you have any questions, just let us know.
So thank you, Michael, again. So this is a very kind of unique topic, and I wanted to make sure that everybody is on board with it. So it's not for everyone, not always required as a feature in a module, but it is a very unique one, and it actually advances the system significantly. So if you have any questions right now, feel free to type them up. I know that you may need to have some time to think about it. So here's a question from Maria again. So thanks, Maria. How long does it take to set up this module?
Oh, it's pretty easy. If we talk about out of fleet statuses and new statuses for scrap and for sale, it's just one click, and it only required, because we already have the kind of shortcut process when you convert from ready to rent to sold, or from ready to rent to scrapped. This only add like temporary status of the rental units. But when we talk about purchases and splitting of the complex rental units, it potentially will require some sort of changes in existing fleet. Say, for example, if you just started using those units, it's easy for us. We add this feature to your configuration. You can run forward and move forward with that and run operations in a different way. But if you already have those units in the system, and they have no like splitting or allocating between different components, we need to assess that. We need to understand how we will split those units to the different components. So it should be individual in every situation.
Thank you, Michael. And there's just a quick follow-up from Maria as well. So do you know how much it's going to cost to add?
We not decided yet, but definitely it will be some sort of a cost associated with those new add-ons. Not 100% sure. We will decide that at the end of January.
Okay, thank you. I think that actually concludes the questions for now. And like I said, all of you who are attending, thank you for attending today's very specific and maybe a little bit of a dry topic, but very interesting to those of you who actually deal with this aspect of the out of fleet status equipment. Feel free to reach out over email to us and actually ask questions over the phone. We're always here to help. And I think we can move to the next slide since there are no other questions. So there you go. So that's a thank you again to those of you who've been with us today. We also wanted to announce that next week's webinar is going to be also at the same time in the same place. You will receive a notification.
Yeah, and the topic of the next webinar will be sales and CRM, the oilfield CRM, the most focus. Again, we continue developing our system, and we will show you what we built to support oilfield sales, to track the sales process and sales activities for the sales representatives of the company.
Okay, well, there you go. So we are starting with the beginning. So how to do the sales using RigER, and see it for yourself in the next webinar in about a week.
Yep. Good. Thank you so much. Was fun. Sorry if I was too fast and too deep with that specific topic. But again, it's a complex process, and I'd like to share as much as possible about that process. And again, thank you for watching, and see you next time.
Thank you, guys. See you next week.